with human rights attorney Brooke Goldstein joining us live from Israel tonight, and the managing director of the Coalition for Jewish Values, Rabbi Yaakov Menken. Welcome to both of you. Good to have you with us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Brooke, can you give me the latest on where you are tonight, or the morning there for you?
Right, it is morning. Once again, our family has been sleeping in bomb shelters. Rockets have been pounding Israel nonstop, hitting both the south as well as central Israel. And at the same time, the mainstream media and U.S. politicians are justifying this. To sit here and listen to politicians call for an end to aid, an end to military aid in Israel, is a direct signal to me and my family that they want to continue to support rockets that are aimed at killing us. Israel survives because of the Iron Dome. Israel will always protect its citizens. And it's this Iron Dome and this aid that is allowing us to live right now. So these signals that members of Congress are giving to the world that they're supporting Hamas are extremely, extremely dangerous and facilitates further conflict.
This is a conflict that has gone on for generations and beyond, but there is a lot of speculation about what has sparked this latest round of fighting back and forth. So, Rabbi, I want to read something from the New York Times and then get your response about whether you think this is fair and accurate or not. They say 27 days before the first rocket was fired from Gaza, a squad of Israeli police officers entered the Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, brushed the Palestinian attendants aside, and cut the cables to the loudspeakers that were broadcasting prayers. It says the Israeli president was delivering a speech at the Western Wall, and Israeli officials were concerned that the prayers would drown it out. In hindsight, the police raid on the mosque, one of the holiest sites in Islam, was one of several actions that led less than a month later to the sudden resumption of war between Israel and Hamas. I've had the pleasure of visiting that area. These beautiful holy sites are all very much right together. On top of each other, and folks have to manage their competing interests. What do you make of the assessment that raid is what started what we're seeing now?
That's the latest attempt to find some ridiculous pretext. I mean, previously it was the Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood, which became an Arab neighborhood due to ethnic cleansing by the Jordanian army. And now they're claiming it's wrong for Israeli Jewish property owners to claim the rights to their property. Now they're talking about the Al-Aqsa Mosque, where riots routinely happen and include attempts to throw rocks down on Jews worshiping at the Western Wall directly below. This is just, again, it's a matter of trying to find a pretext that completely avoids the real issue at hand.
Well, and Brooke, as you've said, and many others have articulated, that you can support the Palestinian people and obviously be vehemently opposed to Hamas, which the U.S. clearly recognizes and categorizes as a terrorist organization. Now, we have a member of Congress, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, tweeting this, and she's responding to the news that the U.S. blocked a UN Security Council call for a ceasefire. She says, POTUS and Secretary Blinken, if you support a ceasefire, then get out of the way of the UN Security Council and join other countries in demanding it. Apartheid-in-chief Netanyahu, her words, will not listen to anyone asking nicely. He commits war crimes and openly violates international law. What do you make of those who object to the U.S. Not getting behind this call for a ceasefire at the UN?
It's so telling, because what they don't say is Hamas needs to stop firing rockets. That is what will end the violence. And I agree with the rabbi in terms of the excuses. They're saying it's the Israeli occupation that's escalating the violence. And yet there's no Israeli occupation in Gaza. There's a Hamas occupation in Gaza, where Hamas is using civilians as human shields. They talk about the Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood as though a municipal property dispute is some sort of justification for over 3,000 rockets fired at men, women, and children, innocent civilian people. This is nothing but the bigotry of low expectations, that they expect that the Palestinian Muslim community will erupt in violence, deadly violence, and this will be excused by the Western media. And one more thing, Rashida Tlaib doesn't care about the Muslim people here. If she did, she would be complaining about why millions and millions of dollars are being used to fund rockets as opposed to fund vaccines. She'd be complaining about how gay men and women are being murdered in Gaza and murdered in the West Bank. She'd be complaining about how innocent Muslim children are being used as suicide homicide bombers, are being used as human shields. But that is not what she says. She uses Palestinian Muslims as a political football, as a partisan tool to promote Jew hatred and to promote violence.
Well, she has talked about that she's got family in the region that she's clearly worried about. And Rabbi, I'll get a quick final word from you on that point. We're hearing increasingly a number of Palestinians in the region and beyond speaking up, saying that they themselves are suffering at the hands of Hamas, and they want there to be a distinction. How does this end peacefully, can it?
Ordinary Palestinians, ordinary Arabs would like to see peace. Thanks to the Abraham Accords, unfortunately, the current administration is not emphasizing the way that the Abraham Accords brought peace up a notch. And you have increasing voices in the Arab world saying, Hamas, you know exactly how to protect your citizens. Stop trying to kill innocent Jews. Stop firing missiles at hospitals. Stop firing missiles at kindergartens. Miraculously, that is much more effective than Israel's Iron Dome because it's 100% effective at stopping Israeli reprisals.
Rabbi and Brooke, thank you for being with us. Our prayers for peace in that region for all the people to be protected, those who are innocent, and certainly not those classified as a terrorist group. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.